Well, hello everybody. It is Tuesday, my favorite time of the week, and it is 11 o'clock or a little bit after. So thank you very much for joining us and for being patient. If you've joined us for the very first time, just click on the button that allows StreamYard to, I guess, connect you to this particular live feed, and we'll be able to see the questions that you have. This is a interview on the Better Business Interviews. And I have a very special guest with me today and a topic that I'm extremely passionate about. I didn't realize for a very long time. So I wanted to ask you the quick question: do you know the number one productivity thing that would actually help you in your business? And do you actually take care of that? My guess is that some of you sitting here today are not doing everything that you need to be doing. And if you don't spend the money or the time doing it now, you will spend a shitload more money later on in your later years. So I'm going to bring on my very special guest, Dan. Welcome, Dan.
Hey, Glenn. How are you? Hey, g'day, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, mate. You're welcome. I really am blessed to have you here on the show. I'm just going to reach out and read a bit of Dan's story. So Dan is a health and fitness coach. He's a husband, an animal dad, a mad sports fan. He must be a Balmain Tigers supporter, and a beneficiary of his own health setbacks. So in other words, he's had his challenges. He's not speaking from, hey, I'm the guru, I've never done this before. He was born and raised in Sydney in a place called Belgium and the Central Coast before moving to the wonderful Newcastle in 1997, where he's lived ever since. He loves keeping active, playing OzTag, ping pong, and getting out and about with his dog Molly and his gorgeous wife Ali. Also, a bit of a Netflix binge person. So what are you currently binging on at the moment on Netflix?
Oh, we've just finished this this one called Unbelievable, and it was like a one series thing, like American thing. But you know, it's one of those things where you watch Netflix and you get stuck into this series, then you finish it, and then you spend about forever trying to find another one, and you go through these ones and you watch an episode, you're like, no, I don't like it, no, I don't like it. So we're in that phase. We're trying to find a new one at the moment. But one of the best ones we watched recently was Line of Duty, which is a British one. Oh, so good. Crime detective ones. I love the crime ones. They're great.
I just finished watching Banshee. I'm a Foxtel person, so I know what it's like. And you just sort of wake up and going, hell, what happened to the weekend? It's gone. You just binge watch. Anyway, Dan, for the people that don't know you, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so as you mentioned in the bio, so I'm Dan. I'm 35. I've been doing fitness for a long time. It feels like a long time, for about nearly 15 years, been in the industry. Live in Newcastle, like you said, with my wife, Ali, and we both run our business here in Newcastle and an online business as well. And, I suppose currently, just living in Newcastle with our little dog and cat, and got a little family going. And really at the moment, just kind of laying low with COVID and doing our thing as best we can. But I fell into fitness, I suppose, because of the fact that, like you mentioned, I kind of had my own health setbacks when I was younger. And that really led me to, I guess, a deeper passion around health and fitness, and made me become deeply curious around how it can impact our health. And that's kind of what led me into the industry itself. So, yeah, been in Newcastle for now about 22 years, loving it.
Okay. So for the people watching the show, first of all, I just want you to type in replay or live, but I want you to type in what's your biggest vice. All right. What do you allow yourself to compensate? So I would actually have to write chocolate. I love Cadbury chocolate. All right. And so if you get me around that, it's not one slice, it's not one square, it's more like one block. And I tell myself just have one row, but I keep finding that I go back to the cupboard, and it's gone. All right. So I just want to find out, we'll come back to this later on the show. I'll tell you why it's important, but everybody will have some sort of vice. And so Dan, who are the people that you mostly serve? Like, I've had a look at your gym, through Facebook and stuff like that, but who would you say the main people that you love to serve?
I tell you what, okay, so who we love serving, basically the majority of our clients are either business owners themselves, parents, teachers, nurses, a lot of those kinds of clients we serve. And I find that that's because those people are great at putting other things first, and they're great at helping other people. For example, business owners are great at putting their business first and their health last. Teachers are great at putting, all the other people in the family first and the kids first, themselves last. Nurses are great at helping other people, right, and then putting themselves last. And parents, as a result of that, are huge at doing this. And it's a gracious thing to do. But what often happens is, what we've found over years is we've become really good at helping those people who are great at helping other people, and then they get to a stage in their life, maybe it's in their, they're in their 30s, 40s, or maybe now they're in their 50s, and they've spent so much time helping other people that they've kind of put their health on the back burner. And as a result, they're in a position where they're like, I need to start doing something for me now, and I need some me time, and they're ready to do that. And so that's who we really love helping. We love helping those people rediscover themselves again and really rediscover their best health, so that they can have a better impact in their job or on their family, or, and just feel better in themselves, whether that's weight loss. A lot of people come to us for weight loss, but mostly when people are coming to us at that age, they're not so focused on the vanity and the six-pack and all that stuff. They just want to feel better and move better and reduce their risk of long-term kind of health issues or those types of things, Glenn. So, we get a massive kick out of helping those people get back into the best shape they've been either in years or forever, which is certainly possible. So you're never too old. That's a big thing.
Wow. I'm going to challenge you on one thing. They come for vanity, but they stay for health reasons. I want the six pack, and I'm happy to work for it, but it seems like when you first start out, it's really hard. I remember going to the gym one day, and after I think the second day, I actually came into the instructor and said, I think there's something broken in my abdominal area. I've broken a bone or something like that, and I know the anatomy, right? So I'm sort of going, what sort of bones are there, Glenn? Really, there's nothing, but I was so sore, and it almost, I allowed that to be an excuse to not come in. But of course, I knew that it would just the workouts didn't get easier, but I got stronger. So, okay. Well, so before we get into, how to increase the number one productivity thing in your business, right? Just tell me, what is your biggest challenge in business to date?
All right. So great question. Right now, it's definitely the market has changed slightly since COVID. So COVID was definitely the most relevant big challenge. Before COVID, things were going relatively well for us. We're growing and getting towards where we want to be. But the beauty about COVID is that actually, even though it was a challenge, it presented a really great opportunity for us at the same time. And it allowed me to stop making the excuse of I'm going to work on my online program, next week, never do it, to actually go, right, this is the time. I need to dive in right now and start this thing, which I've always wanted to do for so long, and build it out and get it up and running and go for it. And I'm so proud of the effort we've made to do that. But challenging wise, getting back now after COVID and back into the studio, you can definitely notice it's quieter. You can notice some people are a lot more hesitant still when it comes to being in a gym or around a studio and all that sweat and that kind of stuff that can happen. And so I think the market's definitely changed now, and it's hard to know how long that's going to be for, or, is it going to get back to normal soon? Is it not? So that's certainly challenging in terms of you've got to readjust your goals and readjust your kind of approach a little bit at the moment. I find I've had to. So that's certainly challenging right now.
Yeah. Okay. I'd agree with you. I think, I don't think it'll ever go back to the way it was. And I think that can be an opportunity for people. As you said, you grew an online portal, and it's about marketing that as another add-on. And I've been witness to that. And if you're watching this, I very rarely bring on someone I actually don't know or haven't really investigated. And so I've seen Dan's online program. I've taken a friend through his online program. It's a great program. I actually thought that you'd lose some sort of connection, but actually just Dan's character. And at one point he's sort of saying, hey, this is a bit like dancing. And I just sort of went, I really liked that about the way that you still brought you to that online sort of program. You didn't say whether or not you're dancing well. You just said, hey, it's a bit like dancing.
Nice.
Hey, so as a result of that, what is your current growth plan? What are you doing that would help other people sort of going, hey, I'd never thought about doing that. What are you doing to grow the business?
Yeah, so at the moment, we're really focused on growing the online component of our business, which is our 90-day Variety Fit program. And whilst we're still heavily invested in our studio, because we still love serving our clients face-to-face, we have small group program, we do group fitness, and we do one-on-one coaching as well. The online program really is something that I've always wanted to do. I wanted to have more of an impact outside of just who we help here in the local area. And that's really something we're heavily trying to market out to people. So we're really lucky. We've got someone overseas doing it. We've got people in the state doing it. So it's starting to get out a little bit. But certainly that's the focus for me, Glenn, because I feel I can have a wider impact in that program with people. And it's probably some of the deepest and best coaching I do personally, which is fantastic. And I love doing that. So that's going to be really our growth strategy, is focusing on that program, as well as trying to, still grow and or maintain who we have here in the studio, and making sure that we bring new members in who are keen to train here in Newcastle with us. The exciting thing about the online is that I can reach anyone anywhere and still give them a really personable experience as well, which is what this program's about. It's not a cookie cutter thing. It's more about helping people, still fairly closely one-on-one in terms of helping.
Well, I'd say situations or interviews like this are actually a great way to actually grow the business. I'm just going to bring on a comment from someone, and I have to think about, how much marketing would you need to do to reach, say, Tasmania? All right.
Yeah, good question.
So have a look at this. So this is a friend of mine, Ross Graham. He says that whilst I love being a house hubby, as my business is cranking back up as COVID eases here in Tassie, it's challenging my focus and productivity. Regarding fitness, I walk the dog. Any more demanding is difficult with a buggered knee, and I'm nearly 72. So any tips from Dan would be appreciated. So first of all, thanks very much for your comment there, Ross. I'll let Dan think about that for a sec. I'll go into it. But absolutely, this could be a great growth strategy for you. I mean, getting in contact with people who have influence over other areas, and now that you've got an online program, means that you can reach, the States and people overseas and people in Tasmania and stuff like that. And then work out, how do we help and connect with someone who perhaps doesn't feel like coming to a gym, all right, or prefers to do the workout at home? Where do they go to get it? That sort of advice. So,
yep, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
So with that, why don't we just dive into now a bit deeper dive, and how, why do you think that I said how to help your number one productivity tool in your business? All right. So Dan's not really sure where I'm going with this right now. So I've seen the expression on his face. When you think about your own productivity, think about how much energy you've got when you go to work and you're feeling tired and lethargic. Now, as you said before, the people his core clients would be parents, teachers, of that sort of nature. They're very much givers. I want you to imagine that you are a ever-ready light battery, So I think I've got one right here. Do you remember everyone? Now, this wasn't prepared before the show, all right? So everyone's got an ever-ready battery, right? Imagine that you are the torch in that battery. Now, if I flick that on and just let it run, eventually it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until there's no light there at all. So why I say this is your number one productivity tool is because every once in a while, you have to take out that battery, put it into a charger, allow it to charge back up again, and then put it back in the torch so it can shine bright. So if you don't take care of your greatest asset, i.e. your body, all right, and you just keep on flogging it, working it, sitting bad posture, or not working out, eventually you're going to be that dim light. And how much productivity are you going to get out of yourself when you go to work if you don't take time out? Because every once in a while, it's not selfish to sort of go, you know what, I need some me time. I need to check in. I need to go and do the gym. Now, I've done some workouts at a lot of different gyms. I remember some of the workouts I did at Total Conditioning at Drummoyne. It would be 8 minutes and I would be absolutely spent, all right? So using time as an excuse, I don't have time, is just an excuse. You will get to a point in your life when you realize, I wish that I'd have done that, because it becomes harder. So Dan, explain to me about why you think your body i.e. your health, and maybe you shared with some stories and stuff like that on why it's your number one productivity.
Yeah, well, so from my standpoint personally, like I see it in clients, obviously, because we help many business owners, and we've got great success stories and testimonials from them and their stories, which we can share after. But for me personally, like I know from me running a business and being around health, it can be quite like you turn up and you focus on everyone else's health, and sometimes you just want to get away from health even. And as a trainer, you're just like, oh man, like now I've got to go do my own workout. But so I don't want people to think that they always have to be motivated to work out. That's the first thing. And the first thing is understanding kind of why are you doing it? Like, what's the importance to you, and what's driving you? What do you want to exercise? Is it important to you for your business? Is it not? Now, that's something you've got to ask yourself first and figure that out. Great to have goals, of course, that's fantastic. But in terms of productivity and energy, just from my experience, I'll tell you a quick story. So I've been doing this in core fit for about 7 years or 8 years now, but as a personal trainer for about 13. And it's usually kind of early mornings, evenings. That's kind of how you start off for a long time in the industry, battling away. And that really can take your toll. And in the early stages, I kind of started doing so much work in terms of training people that I did put myself on the back burner. I didn't do my exercise workouts that I usually would. And what happened was I started to get shitty. I started getting cranky. I started to definitely notice my energy was dropping away a little bit, and I had to change something, and I had to restructure the model of what I was doing because I was not really balancing the time for me as well. So I learned early on. I was lucky to learn early on. And we've kind of restructured the business model now in that it's small groups and groups, which is fantastic. And I love the energy of those as well. That's what 95% of our client base is. That allows time for me to look after myself, which is the most important thing. And we've learned this the hard way because we've been burnt out in business. We've gotten to like October, November, and we just got nothing left. You're so emotionally invested in helping people that it can be quite draining on you personally. So we've learned how to look after ourselves better and manage it better. And as a result, what actually happened is we cut back a service, which was really scary because it meant cutting back our revenue quite a bit, about 20%. And we invested more so in the groups. And what happened as a result is our business actually grew financially within 3 months beyond what it was when we had more one-on-one kind of training sessions, which was great. And it allowed me to have, and my wife to have more time on ourselves. So as a result, not only did the business grow, but personally, we got back some time, some freedom time, and it meant that we could actually focus more on our health and do more stuff. And my productivity increased, my ideas increased as well. I think some of the best ideas I have, Glenn, are when I'm exercising. I don't know if you're the same, but like I'm going away and all of a sudden this thing pops into my head and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'll put it into my phone or whatever. So just my mood, my productivity, my energy, and my cognitive function, like being able to kind of focus on stuff. Definitely, that's one of the biggest things for me personally. So I think business is kind of the same everywhere, whether you're running potentially a fitness business or a different business. I think you've still got to be able to steer the ship and have the ability, I suppose, to look after yourself. Otherwise, like you said, that's a great analogy about the torch. I've never heard that. I think that can certainly happen. And man, I'm 35 and I was burnt out. So I can imagine if you're, been doing it for more years than me and you're not looking after yourself, it must be really hard. And so I think that's where your health and investing in you, really investing in you is like investing in your business. That's what I firmly believe, because you do get so much back out of it in terms of what you can then put back into your own business, which is going to help it grow as well. So, yeah.
So a lot of people wouldn't realize, what is the chemical drug that is released when you work out?
Yeah, so what happens is your brain releases a couple of feel-good chemicals like serotonin and dopamine. And so what happens is that kind of sparks a response. They're the feel-good kind of things, like, yes, potentially when you eat chocolate and those kinds of like an aphrodisiac. But what that does is it kind of, what studies have shown actually is that your brain becomes more optimistic as a result of doing stuff like that. Like, whereas if you're sitting all day and you're not moving, you can become more pessimistic. And so that's a good thing too. You start, like I said, start having better ideas and things like that. You start feeling better. And so I think that's a fantastic thing as well. But the other flip side is in business, and I know I've been here, and I'm sure everybody who's listening as a business owner has, is the stress, right? And when you're stressed and you've got lots of things going on, the opposite that comes out are things like cortisol and adrenaline. And what happens then is when you're in a kind of heightened stress situation, or you've got things going on, or financial demands, or you're burnt out with time, is that what happens is your body does something pretty unique. It actually weakens your immune system and weakens your digestive system. And so if there's anyone out there now thinking, oh yeah, like I've been run down and I've got sick, that's because your natural response from your body, it's a primitive response, is that when you feel stress and those chemicals get released, your body wants to preserve its energy. So it weakens your digestive system, which means either you don't eat or you forget to eat, or you eat emotionally and eat too much. Or you become sick and weakened because your immune system kind of is kind of weakened at that time. So that's the other thing where you can balance that out by looking after yourself more, and you can kind of negate that stress more, which is, I think, the great thing for your longevity in your business as well. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. I mean, a couple of things you mentioned then. When I used to do long distance running, I used to come up with the best solutions to some of the problems that I had. And that's mostly because I didn't have any of the distractions around me. I'm someone who's constantly a heavy user on my phone, but because of running, I just had to focus on my breathing, my stride and stuff like that. And then I felt like I get very, very in the zone and then very clear about going, oh, that thought had popped into my head. I also think that because my body was releasing those types of chemicals, that my clarity about my thinking was different. Now, I've done a lot of drugs, a lot of chemical drugs, all right? And I got to tell you that at 54, I've actually never had the type of drugs that my body releases when I exercises, all right? And it does that for about 2 hours after I've done a workout, which is why when you're sitting in bed or you're sitting at home very lethargic, sort of going, oh, I don't feel like exercising, you're kind of already defeating yourself already, aren't you? Because you don't know what it feels like after your workout. So the biggest trick that I found was actually don't do the thinking then, because I mean, I work out in the morning and I'm in bed underneath a doona. It's not a really fair comparison to sort of saying, get out of that environment, go out into the cold, and today rain, and then go and work out. But I can tell you that after I do, I'm like, oh, wow, that feels fantastic. So motivation won't get you there. All right. You've just got to come up with something that sort of works for you that makes you do whatever type of exercise. Now, there are lots of different types of exercise. So what would you say would be a good suggestion for people to start? How would they, if they're feeling those types of things and sort of going, you know what, I know I need to look after myself better, what should I be doing to start?
Absolutely. And this is it's a great question, and it really does come down to the person individually. But to give you an example, there are some people who really, walking is a great place to start, because walking releases those chemicals, but you're not putting in the massive physical exertion that might turn you off doing exercise straight away. So I think just getting up and maybe, look to walk 10 minutes a day to start with, or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, or whatever you feel like you can kind of put into your day. Just getting out of the office, if you work in an office, and into the outside world is a great thing. That's a great place to start if you're kind of at a level where you haven't really done much for a long time, or you're a little bit put off by kind of doing exercise per se. Otherwise, there's certainly some great things you can even do just in your office or in your house. A lot of the time over the years, I've gone around to different businesses in the Newcastle region and educated their corporate businesses on kind of quick ways they can kind of get their staff to do some things around the office in there, whether it be their lunch breaks or things like that. And so you don't have to invest a lot of time. I know you mentioned before you did something in 8 minutes and you felt like, holy moly. Often sometimes it can be just stretching your muscles is a great way to start. So a 10-minute stretch is a great way to kind of release some of those good endorphins. Hey, if you're into resistance exercise and you kind of know what that means, then doing some body weight stuff, like it might be squats or lunges or push-ups or some crunches, a little circuit for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, that's even a great way to kind of get some good feelings going through your body. And also, like we said, getting those good chemicals going and improving that productivity. But ultimately, I think it comes down to figuring out what you like doing. I know you love running. And if you're more of someone who enjoys that, then go and do that. That's fantastic. I'm a big believer that as we age, we need to be doing resistance training, because what happens is your muscles atrophy when you get to about 30. They start to kind of fade away, I guess you could say, and your bone density decreases and all these things. And so if you can kind of, help fight that process by doing resistance exercise, which doesn't mean lifting heavy weights, it can just be body weight based stuff, then that's a great thing for your health, because you're preserving muscle. It's going to help change your body shape, which is great too. It's going to help aid in fat loss if that's your goal. and it's just going to make you feel better all around. So I'm a big believer in resistance training, but I think it's great to incorporate all different sorts of things if you're at that level. But certainly starting with some basics like walking, running, stretching, I think is a great way to start, mate. Yeah.
So I've done some stuff with just, one of those rubber bands, all right? And that's what you mean by resistance training. And I've seen some stuff online sort of thing and going, oh, how hard could it be? And then I've sort of gone, what? You want me to do 20 of these 4 times? And I've found that engaging different muscle groups made a big difference too, and sometimes engaging the right sort of muscle groups. Because I've got another contact here. Let me just show here. This is an American contact of mine, Leah. She says, in my experience, I need my yoga practice to ground her, or that's both a mental and mind sort of thing. Sometimes it's just balance and getting your core right. I mean, thanks very much for being on the show, Leah, and for that. That it doesn't really. You can actually get a really good workout by doing a yoga session.
Oh, right? Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yoga's fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely recommend that. It's great.
So what sort of tips could we give Dan at the age of, he's not 72 yet, but happy birthday when you are, Ross. What would you give someone who's perhaps likes walking the dog, but he's got buggered knees, nearly 72? What sort of things could we do to help him?
Yeah, look, for you, Ross, and not knowing exactly what's going on with your knees there. But look, at the end of the day, mate, you don't have to do anything overly physical here. It's more about just getting yourself moving. So for you, it might be starting with some stretching, if that's the case. You may find that you're quite tight and quite, quite restricted in some of the movements you may have if you started doing exercise in terms of the physical stuff right now. So the best thing you do is start doing some stretching stuff. Hey, actually, do you know what? Yoga is actually a great idea, or Pilates is actually not a bad idea for someone like Ross, potentially, because he'd probably do with stuff that's more low impact, which is great for him. But also even, doing some stuff from your home, mate. There's nothing wrong with you building up to the point where you can actually do some resistance-based movements from your home. You just need to know what you're doing and do the right ones. And so if you've got dodgy knees and things like that, then certainly I wouldn't go pounding the pavement going for running. I'm sure you're not going to do that, Ross, but I'd start with some basic stuff around the home. You can even get some, if this is something you like doing, you can go join like a Pilates studio or a yoga studio, or get some DVDs for your home. Or, of course, someone like me can help you from your living room, mate, as well, because the program I offer actually starts with building some foundational strength and basic bodyweight movements, and then builds you up progressively and offers you progressions and regressions to for whatever kind of level you're at. So we've got some people in the program who are in their 60s, some people are in their 30s. So that's something that's great about the program I offer in terms of giving you those different levels of progressions and regressions. But
so, Ross, if you like a challenge, they've just got a 60-year-old, maybe they might have a 70-year-old, all right? Look, a lot of it is body training. I know, in the week 1, you start out with dips and, of course, squats and lunges. And they can actually, I know during that particular session, I found that I was sweating a lot. All right. So tell us a little bit about, the results of some of your clients have got some experiences or case studies.
Yeah, I've got, I don't know if you've received them, mate. I've got some sent through to you, but otherwise I'll run through them with you unless you've got.
While you're starting to talk on one, I've got it. You can, yeah, I'll download that and open it up. Okay, go for it.
So the first one, well, basically it's just a bit of a story about each of these. So Roger's a great example. So Roger's basically in his 50s. Rog owns a local mechanic, and with his wife as well. And he was someone who came to us with quite out of shape, quite overweight, and he said, they bought their dream house and they were spending too much time sipping on wines on their dream house, looking over the beach and loving all that. That was great. But he got really comfortable within himself and his business, and he could notice his health was really starting to decline. So Roger came to us and said, you know what, I need to do this, I need to do that, not only for the business, but also just for him personally. He was kind of losing his own identity in terms of who he was and who he wanted to be. And so he ended up losing about 30 kilos with us and did it sustainably, by the way. Like, this isn't a thing where you go on a diet. This is learning how to do it properly through practices and habits, which is, I believe, the only way you should be doing it if you want lasting change. But he found some really renewed energy for his business and whatnot, his productivity. And he also, through that, he met other people as well who helped to, I guess, grow his business with him as well. He's a BNI member now, Rog.
Okay.
Not too. So he did fantastic. He's done such a great job, and he's continuing to still crush it today. So he's a great story. And
what sort of time frame was that achieved in?
He lost 20 kilos in the first 12 months, and then he lost a further 10 in the next 6 months. So about 18 months. Yeah.
Okay, so that was because one of the things I noticed when I'm looking at him, he doesn't look gaunt. He looks still very healthy. And when some people lose a lot of weight really quickly, they look very gaunt. The first time I lost a lot of weight, that's exactly what I look like, a dried up prune. And I'm sort of looking there going, you know what? He actually looks healthier. Not only just the weight loss, but his face features still look great. So good on him.
Yeah, no, he's done really well. And like you said, he's done it the right way, which is good.
Okay.
Yeah. And then next up, we've got Rach. And so Rach, along with her husband, owns a construction business. And she's been training with us for a while now. And she came to us not so much for weight loss, a little bit, but more so just for her mental health, which is a huge aspect of her running a business. She was quite stressed and finding it hard to deal with that. And so she needed an outlet for that. And so she came to us with that goal. And she wanted to, if health was her main goal and weight loss was a byproduct to that, if she managed it. And she managed to, even though in this photo you might not see it much, but she managed to shed around kind of 8 to 10 kilos, and she didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but she's also, her bone density, her muscle mass, all these things have increased. But mentally, she says, like she always says, she's in such a better space now than what she ever was in terms of managing business and just managing her health. And she feels like she's in a much better place to be able to continue that long term. Being able to live a long private life, which is fantastic. So, yeah.
Cool. Well done, Rachel. I like the spelling. It's the same way my sister does it too.
Who's next?
We got Dan.
You know Dan?
I do. Dan did a lot of our printing for a lot of years while I was in BNI. Great business presentations.
Yeah, Dan the man. So their business is just around the corner from ours, and Dan's been training with us now for a while with his wife Mel. So they own Who Printing, and they manage a lot of staff. And safe to say that there's a fair bit of stress going on with them as well. And productivity-wise, I know one of the reasons he joined was that he was so invested in the business, and of course you have to be, but his health was really taking. He's really taking a back seat in regards to that. So anyway, he came to us, mate. He's dropped 15 kilos, a couple of pant sizes. He's stronger than he's ever been in 25 years. He's feeling much better for it. His energy, you can see when he walks through the room now for a workout, his energy is just so much like more. He used to come in and we really kind of tired and flat, but now he's got the balance a lot better, and he even says that himself. So
he looks terrific. Next time you see him on Thursday when you go to your meeting, please say hi for me.
Oh, well, thanks, mate. No worries. And Lisa. And so Lisa is Roger's wife, and they both own the mechanic business. And she also joined after Roger joined, after she'd seen what Roger would be achieving. She thought, I need to get on this and have a crack. And she's someone else who's also kind of helped reclaim her own health. And she's lost about 10 kilos, and she feels fit, toned, and rejuvenated, she says. And again, she's probably as strong as she's ever been, and she's doing a fantastic job. And their business is flying as well, because they're both kind of turning up, and I guess they've got the energy to feel like they can do what they want to do, and they've met some connections here as well, which is great. And so that's
absolutely great. You've got to have the energy. I mean, you know what? I found that life and let alone your business will just beat the shit out of you sometimes. All right, it really does flog you somehow. And so if you are mentally or physically depleted, it just hits you like a ton of bricks. Right. So if you're feeling great about yourself and you're feeling very strong, I can power through my day and all of a sudden get to, oh, wow, someone's just walked in. It's 5 o'clock. Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't even notice it. Whereas before, working from home, it was great because you can go and have a nana nap at 3 o'clock. Right. And then but I don't find that I need that anymore. Right. So
I used to love it.
I love it when the children are going up and they're going, sleepy time? Okay, daddy's off too. So tell me, what was the key ingredient in helping all of these people move? What was instilled in them? Was it life event, or they said, I've got to make this work for myself, or they just looked at it going, on a daily basis? What makes someone stick with it?
Well, what makes someone stick with it? I think what makes someone stick with it, Glenn, is one thing we really coach people on is how to do this sustainably. And I know, I think with health, there's been the funny thing with the health and fitness kind of the whole system, I guess, in general, is that many people have different approaches to it, even though the approach should be pretty similar for most people. But the approach is also skewed because of different things over many years of time, like diets and magazines and do this radical change and do this radical thing, that people get, unfortunately, conditioned to kind of approach their health as a short-term thing. But these people came to us, some of them came with kind of previous mindsets in that respect, and that many of them have done different diets and stuff. But one thing we do is we coach them on a philosophy called sliding right. And sliding right really is about focusing on progress, not perfection, which I'm sure many of you have heard. And so, for example, if you've got on the left-hand side of the spectrum, you've got kind of the health and fitness spectrum, you've got kind of where you don't want to be. So you've got, unhealthy, you've got, preventative disease, maybe type 2 diabetes, maybe you're obese here, maybe you're just not feeling fantastic with your health on the left. And then on the right, you've got kind of where you want to go, right? You've got your goal, you've got maintenance, you've got healthy, comfortable, confidence, those kind of things. And so for us, what we try to coach people to say is that, like, it doesn't matter where you are on that spectrum or where you start. What matters to us is what direction you're headed, and focusing on approaching it really one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, 1 year at a time. And so the changes we make with people are structural in terms of focusing on developing some key foundations around food psychology and how they approach food, but also just building good technique first, and then building on that, rather than throwing them into all these things that they've got to do straight away. It becomes so overwhelming, or it's so radical that they can't sustain it. And then they fly back off the wheel in 6 weeks. And unfortunately, that's what many programs do. So we focus on those things. We teach them about patience, and that if they want to have lasting health and fitness, they need to focus on it being a lifestyle. And I know it sounds like cliche, but it's kind of true. And so, I think that's what led them to be able to actually manage it in their own head better, Glenn, and mindset. And their mindset shifted from kind of having to race through it to kind of being, okay, I can just kind of steady the ship now and keep focusing on the things that work for me day in, day out. And that's what's going to get me there. Yeah.
One of the things, my daughters just went for they both do Taekwondo. And last weekend I went and saw them go for their 4th Dan level 1 and 4th Dan level 2, which means they've done 4 black belts and now they're going for their 5th. And one of the things that, both of them actually, Georgia especially, because she's a weapons expert. But one of the things that I'm most proud about them is not achieving the result. It's more about the work they put in to achieve that result. That's what I'm most proud about them. Because I found that if I reward them just for, hey, congratulations on getting that next belt, you're only rewarding, the result and not the behavior. When I really want to recognize them for the work that they put on, like, are you going to the gym again? Well done, good on you. And the reality is that if you inspire that type of approach, then the weight loss or the black belt is just a byproduct. It's more about, like, how do they manage that in their life? And now I kind of think that's my role as a parent, really, to do that as well, is that they get like, just turning up on the daily when people aren't really watching. So everybody doing weights right now, or everyone sort of sitting with better posture, that's what I'd love you to get from this particular show. Managing your health at whatever level and having a focus and an awareness about that, the awareness got to start somewhere. All right. And the more effort that you put into that, I promise you, you can be, there's nothing stopping you if you have a concentration and a focus on being healthier. So Dan, any parting words, before we sort of wrap up the show, I guess?
Yeah, just to add to that, mate, I think I completely 100% agree. I think what happens is people get so focused on the goal, they forget about the process. And it's the process that gets you there. And so focusing on the process is really what matters, and turning up and being consistent is really what matters. So I think that's a great thing you mentioned then around your daughter. And I think that should hopefully resonate with a lot of people. Absolutely. But look, at the end of the day, mate, parting words, I just want to say to people, look, at the end of the day, when it comes to your health, I get it's hard and I get it's challenging, and I get that there's so many different things out there, and I completely understand. I empathize with you. I just want you to kind of know that, at the end of the day, it's how you value your health is really what matters. And if you've got a higher value of it and you want to live a long life, or you want to be healthy for your kids or your business, and you really want that for yourself, then there is a way to do it without flogging yourself to death. You don't have to go and pound the pavement for hours a day. You don't have to go to the gym and get on the cross trainer for an hour a day. There's ways you can do this that are equally, you're able to structure and fit into your lifestyle and aren't going to take up a massive amount of your time. And I just want you to know that you can do this. You've got to be resourceful. You've got to find time. You do have to find time, but it's a great investment in you if you do it. And I promise you that returns you'll get will be better than anything else. The great quote, the best investment you can make is the investment you make in yourself. And I think that returns the best dividend overall. I think I can speak highly, it definitely helped me personally. And I can see that many of the clients, both online and face-to-face, are starting to feel that and starting to change their relationship with their health, which is so awesome to see. So yeah, hope that resonates with you guys out there.
I hope it does too. I'm sure it does. Hey, so listen, if you want to help out Dan, if you're in a position to help out Dan, one of the growth strategies you mentioned was to get out to more people. So if you run a show, if you're listening to this later on and you'd like to reach out to Dan, please do so. You will find him in the mentoring area on this particular Better Business Place mentor group. I'll also pop Dan's details below. And of course, I'll make sure that this particular live goes into other forums. So please like this video, share it if you've got someone, and put someone in contact with Dan if you think that Dan can be of assistance. Now, Dan, I have asked you, can you give us a very special offer? So what have you got? What surprises have you got?
What surprises have I got? So what I offer you guys is like a free strategy call, a free consultation with me. So these usually take around 20 to 30 minutes. And what we do is unlock kind of what's going on for you, a bit about your health history and what are the problems you're facing and potentially how I can help with that. Or even if I can't help, I'll give you some strategies that you can leave with. So I want to offer you a free consultation with me or a free strategy call. And I think Glenn's got a link to that you can click on and get that in with me. And I'll be in touch with you if you want to know a little bit more, or you simply want to have a chat around how you can help your situation and kind of get back to better health. So, yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Thanks very much for being on the show, Dan. I really hope and appreciate you coming on. To all the people that have achieved massive results on their weight loss, fantastic, good on you. To everybody that's come on the show, Ross, your final quote. Here we are. Thank you, Glenn, and thank you, Dan. Very instructive and motivational. You know what, Ross? I am damn emotional. Dan did some work as well, so we appreciate him there. But look, I am loving doing these particular sessions. It just makes it great that I have awesome people like Dan. So please reach out, chat to someone who can help you in your health journey. And until next time, my name is Glenn Kirkwood, aka That Referral Guy, signing off with a reminder to make, build, and share connections. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.
See you guys.